What's going on? Welcome to the Not So Real Estate podcast.
Yes.
I'm Reese here with
Blake.
Yeah.
Blake.
And
Lewis.
Nice. We're here for episode 2. We made it to the second one.
Yep. Yeah. Number 1 was fun. We could call him Caba or Caballero if you guys haven't checked out last week's Caballero post.
Sure. Yeah, check it out.
Check it.
That's fun stuff.
Yeah. We've got a lot going on in the past week.
Yeah. A lot going on.
Blake, you celebrating. Yes. Why stop a celebration? Tell us, what are you celebrating?
Yeah, celebrating 5 years.
Yep.
Today of marriage.
Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you. In Spanish, that is cinco for our bilingual tuners.
Yep. Cinco.
Yep.
Went on a little trip.
Yeah. Just got back from Cayucas.
Nice.
You know what I like to say? One of the last sleepy beach towns left in California.
Yep. Yeah. And Lewis and I have been busy this week too. Lewis, what have we been up to?
Yeah. What have you guys been doing?
Been up to a lot. We went to Folsom.
Yep.
6 long hours.
Prison.
Almost 7.
Almost 7 hours.
Right?
Yeah, almost 7.
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
There's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
Caballero locked up in that Folsom prison.
Oh.
We actually went to go drop off a cashier's check.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. What for?
Property in Paso.
Okay.
Off of Bowling.
Yeah.
And then we just got back from Paso Robles yesterday.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Had an eventful couple days.
Like us in the South like to say, putting in the Milos for the kilos.
Oh.
Caballero.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Caballero, what you got to say about that? Milos for the kilos.
I like it. We've been putting in a lot of Milos.
Yeah.
So therefore we have a lot of kilos.
Is Milos miles? Is that the original term?
Well,
for it,
that's what I was using it as, but what do you have to say about that, Caballero?
Well, miles in Spanish is actually millas.
Millas for the kias.
There you go.
Yep.
Uh-huh. What's keys in Spanish?
I don't know.
Joves?
Llaves. That was close.
Ooh.
It was the wrong.
Llaves?
Yes. Yeah.
Milas for the laves.
Doesn't rhyme at all in Spanish.
No, that doesn't work. So we're back
to Milos and kilos. Yep.
Milos and kilos. Here with your hosts, Blake, Reese, and Caballero.
That's the new name, Milos and kilos. All right, so let's jump right in.
Yep.
We're talking about what we wanted to talk about this week, and Blake, you had the idea, so why don't you share with us what is on your mind today?
Well, it is called the Not So Real Estate podcast. So I think it's important that we're always going to be having some sort of life topic.
Yep.
And then we show kind of how it correlates with
real estate
or entrepreneurship or just life in general.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was the topic of nice versus kind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the inspiration.
Went southern on us a little bit there.
The inspiration for it is I'm discovering how similar words I've taken to be the same thing, but in fact they're not. They're very different.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us sometimes we interchange nice for kind when I don't think they're the same thing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of nice people that are not kind. And I know a lot of kind people that many might not consider very nice.
Yeah.
That's twisty.
It is.
Yeah. The way I was kind of thinking about it when you first said it was like, I feel like kind is like a state of being.
Okay, I like that.
Like, to me, at least, and maybe this isn't right, but Nice is like a way to describe someone's action. Like, oh, that was a nice thing of you to do. But like kind is like who you are. Like you're a kind person. Like rather than just doing a nice thing.
So can someone be nice and kind?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think someone can be nice and not kind?
Absolutely. What did you say the other day?
We were on our drive to Paso, and I'd asked Reese, what are we going to talk about? He had said nice versus kind. So I said, let's say you're not the best dressed today, and I tell you, hey, you look good. Like, you look good today. That's being nice. But is it kind for me to say, hey, man, you don't look good at all today?
Yeah. Like, you need to figure that out.
Yeah.
So
that would actually be the kind thing to do.
You're looking out.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, because it's probably because I didn't match.
Good.
Probably because I didn't match, and say, hey, Reese, you don't actually match today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, just FY. I mean, you were dressed fine. But
thank you.
I just wanted to say as an example.
Yeah.
Is it kind of me to tell you look okay, good, when you don't?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's kind at all.
Yeah.
That's like, since we're on, 5-year anniversary, I'll talk about random things. Like, if I'm talking to someone random and I got my wife next to me and I got a booger in my nose.
Right.
Like, kindness, honey. Like, for one, pick it if you got to. Like, hey, we're married. Permission. Yeah. Get up in there while I'm conversating.
Right.
If I need to.
Right.
At that point, it's just efficient and kind.
Yeah.
That's like kindness exponential.
Yeah.
But if not, just be like, hey, like, you got a booger in your right stroll,
Mm-hmm.
It's always good to specify what stroll to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, because then you go to the other one, it's not there. It's confusing.
So and now we'll pivot a little bit off of this. So that's what I would expect my wife to do. Honey, if you're tuning in, just know if I ever got a boog in the right stroll, hit it up. Handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Another example is with you guys. It was really bumming that we have to talk about this here. I'll bring it up. We were in Fresno meeting with an agent.
Oh, man, I know where this is going.
Yeah, at a Starbucks, hanging out, having a good time. It was our first time meeting this agent. It's a buddy that we joint venture with on some deals. His wife, Viola, just joined the team. Wanted to have a meeting with us, so we all get together at Starbucks. We're hanging out. It's me, Caballero, Reese,
Kalina.
Yeah. So we had just got done eating Yard House, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to Starbucks, meeting with this agent. I am all the way done talking. I've been talking for a good 15 to 20 minutes, steady. I go to the bathroom. I look in the mirror, and I have something green on one of my front teeth, the big ones.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Lewis, did you notice that?
No, so to be fair, when you and Kalina and Reese and Viola were talking, I went to the restroom. I came out of the restroom, and as Kalina was going in, and the first thing Kalina told me was, hey, Blake has something on his tooth, let him know.
Wow.
Here's where I panicked. You were having a great conversation with Viola. The last thing I wanted to do, I didn't know how, was to let you know, hey, you got something on your tooth.
Hey, and I will say this, when I get on a good stream of convo, like, I don't blame you guys. It can get a little bit fiery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't want to get in the way of that either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did feel okay, and maybe you guys can help me out here. And maybe we can ask Viola at some point just to get complete and utter clarity.
Yeah.
We're at a table like this. She was over there. I was on this side. Is there a chance that she didn't see the big strand of green that was in my teeth?
Yes, because I didn't even know it was there.
Okay.
I think the conversation was so good that
she didn't even know.
She didn't even notice.
Yeah.
How did Kalina act about it? She obviously noticed it enough to tell you.
Right.
Why didn't she tell me?
I think just because she didn't want to interrupt you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, like, how do I...
So while I was talking, you guys had this side convo about something in my tooth?
It was a brief convo, yes.
Oh, gosh.
So I also think that with kindness...
Viewers, real quick. Nice versus kind. What was that? A, nice. B, kind. C, neither.
Messed up. I'm just kidding. I will say that with those two comes boundaries too, right?
Okay.
I guess that's a whole other can of worms. Kind
versus kind and boundaries.
Yeah, because like you said with your wife, she has permission to pick your nose. If I'm talking next to you and I notice a booger, am I going to go pick your nose?
I don't think so, and I think your fingers are a little bit too big. I have smaller strolls.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but I didn't necessarily want your fingers in my nose. No.
So like, is a business? I guess it's. I mean, we're pretty informal. It's not like we're like, oh, this is business, but like a conversation like that. I don't know. Would you have preferred us to interrupt you and be like, yo, Blake, in front of her, you got something in your tooth, bro?
I think as soon as you let my voice down a little bit or maybe ask a question.
Just
yeah.
Okay.
Signal it.
I got you.
Yeah. I think what went wrong with me was I thought about it too much and I panicked.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how. Going back to nice and kind, I think it was nice not to interrupt you, but it probably wasn't kind not letting you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the difference. I also thought of a comparison to like nice versus kind of like joy versus happiness.
I like that.
That's kind of what I connected it to. And maybe we can have this conversation down the road, but just briefly, like joy is like a state of your heart and happy is an emotion. So like, that's kind of the way I thought about it. Of kind is like a state of being and nice is not, it's not an emotion, but like the same similarity that joy and happiness is.
I think that's fair.
I thought that was, I don't know.
That's good. So essentially an act or a temporary thing versus a state of being or something more permanent.
Yeah. Like if someone who's robbing a bank is walking up to the bank
with a smile on
and holds
kind eyes,
but he holds the door open for the lady walking behind him. Was that a nice thing to do? Yeah. That was nice.
Right.
He might be a nice guy. Is he kind with I don't know. I guess that's between them and God. Because I guess there's a whole nother conversation of desperation. But just right off the surface, he's robbing a bank. Is he a kind guy? He has some manners.
It's going to be probably no. But I think that's a great example.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like you can probably politely ask the person to give them all of their money.
Like, hey, could you give say
but
please?
The kind thing to do would be not to be stealing someone's stuff, right?
Just go sell houses.
Yeah. I like that. No, it's good.
Yeah.
And I think you're right then. So joy and happiness, nice and kind, similar. Tell me.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. Give me an example to you, Lewis. Kabaya.
So I'm gonna bring it back a little bit back to real estate.
Yep.
So going back to our projects and stuff, I think a lot of investors who do these projects and do these houses, I'm going to try to tie it in. So they fix up the house and I don't speak for everyone, but not everyone's like this. So they fix up the house as fast as they can, make it a little nice, and they stick back on the market. Whereas how we do it here at the Shawn team, we obviously want to make it nice. We want to bring a great product, but I think there's so much more of that we think about, like staging, like, you know, how would if a family came in here or if we came in here, we were going to live here, how would we want it to look? We talked about, actually, it was earlier today, how we're going to have a sign on our projects and tell a little story about, you know, when we picked it up, how did it look and why we remodeled it that way. What was our vision? So I would say something like that.
Telling the story.
Yeah.
Superseding a product.
Right. Just going the extra mile. I think being kind is going the extra mile. I
like that. So I think people can fake being nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was literally going to say that.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
And I would be honest and even say that could have been me. Mm-hmm. I knew exactly what I needed to do, how I needed to look, what I needed to act like, when I needed to act like it in order to be perceived as nice. So faking nice is, for all you agents that are tuning in, is when you get that phone call from the buyer's agent, you're representing the listing, and you get that call from that agent that just chewed you out a few weeks ago about how irresponsible you are. But then now they have a client who wants to buy one of your properties. So they have to put on that really nice voice that raises an octave or two.
And no Mickey Mouse during the podcast.
And act like they care a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think in real estate, we see a lot of nice.
Yeah.
Well, it has a lot to do with integrity. Like how you treat someone when you're near them might be nice, but the way you treat them when you're not with them, you know?
Yeah, would be
like kind. A kind person is going to be going to have integrity.
Yep.
And they might still be a little fake when they're nice, not to make problems and issues that are.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, just because someone's nice to you doesn't mean they're necessarily kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think people can see nice versus kind?
I think
Depends
so.
on the maturity of the person.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, that's true. Have either of you been nice and not kind?
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's commonplace in the sense I think we can all realize that we've been there. Mm-hmm. Shoot, we still even might be there depending on the day or the week, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had, I've read and I've watched a few different things regarding what it would look like to be like a warrior or like a soldier. Because, you know, back in the day, Roman Empire, like, wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm, you know, a teacher and on the weekends I'm out warrioring for the kingdom of Rome, you know? Yeah. Like that was their job. Like kid, you're raised, it's who you are. Mm-hmm. You're going to go out and do it. And I was listening to this guy talk and he said, that could be true, but that warrior, if he goes home and has a family and all of that, a true warrior can go out and kill during the day and then go home and lay on the ground for his little kids to wrestle and run all over him. That's a kind man.
Yeah.
Even though, this is an extreme example, but I want to put it there for people to challenge themselves. You could go out and kill each and every day at your job. We can go do what we do. We're in sales. We could go and be an absolute warrior for our clients, standing up for them for what's right in general. But if we can't go home and be kind, not nice, and go home and be nice for about 5 minutes with our kids and our spouse if we really wanted. But can you go home and be kind and treat that just the same, with the same tenacity, the same giddy up and go as you did fighting all day long for something good? Are you willing to go home and do that? Because I know lots of nice guys that are not kind men.
Yeah.
And I think when I heard that, it struck a chord with me. I mean, I am still trying to figure out this husband and dad thing a lot. And I mean, thankfully, I mean, my wife we're polar opposites. Take just about any test that you want to give us, personality wise or whatever. We're very different people. Super, super cool though, how God orchestrates and uses marriage to pull the best out of each other through those differences. But she challenged me. And she was like, yeah, but how can you go out all the day and, you know, go and do this or be this, but then there's not enough of you left, you know, when you get home. And so I had to really take a look and be like, man, that's so true. How do because I am tired at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that would, you know, it makes sense. All of us are tired. But all it took for me, a high achiever, someone that wants to do well, when I go home, it's not like, oh, I get to take a breather from the world. Yes, I do. But for at least a couple hours, I can't just switch to E. Like I ain't got nothing in the tank.
Right.
No, I just have to change my mindset. Now I'm getting to go home and be a husband and a dad. And I want to do that at a super high level.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a whole switch for me. Because when you're nice, it's exhausting. You're having to play a part.
It is. You're acting.
I don't see it that way.
So my prayer has been, Lord, help make me kind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even need to be happy to be kind. I could be sad and be kind. I could feel good and be kind. I could feel bad and be kind. And so the reason I want to talk about this is the deeper I get in business, the longer that I'm married, the more that I get to adventure being the life of a dad. I don't want to be a nice guy. I want to be a kind man. And being kind involves a lot of very hard conversations with people. I am not confrontational by nature. So to me, avoiding conflict seems kind when really it's not. It was me trying to be nice and avoiding some hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, it kind of gives me anxiety even talking about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
All of the hard things I had to go through in figuring out what nice versus kind means.
Yeah.
Well, and even like in that example, when you were being nice, you weren't even necessarily being nice to them. Like there's some points where you come to and you're being more nice because we're very similar in the fact that we,
Yep.
Like you're being nice to yourself, like by avoiding, because I don't like having hard conversations in any relationship I have, friendship,
Totally.
So like I find that when I am avoiding the hard conversations, it's because I'm being nice to myself and I'm not being kind to them and I'm not being kind to myself.
It's important to recognize.
Right.
But it takes paradigm shifts of your actual consciousness.
It's a heart change
to understand that concept right there.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, you will always default to thinking nice is kind.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you sharing that actually, because I feel like that's what I'm growing in right now. So yeah, you're right. Sometimes being nice is just an act.
It is.
And
which is the most disingenuous thing you could ever do to yourself, by the way.
Yeah.
Skipping whatever you do to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's first not kind to yourself.
Well, I would argue that it's situational.
Okay.
Like
we hear about that.
And
we got to go back to Lewis.
Yeah, sorry. No, let's finish that. Finish that thought first. Yeah. You finish that thought first.
Yeah, no. So, just like you, like I recently, like I want to say like last month, maybe 2 months ago, I'd come home just exhausted.
Yeah.
Because we'd be out there fighting like warriors, getting deals, making sure everything's running like it should be, everything's dialed in. I mean, if there's a hiccup, like it as they say, time is money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you get home and then I'm just like, oh man, I'm so tired. And I tell myself, okay, I gotta, be nice to my fiance, to my kids and stuff like that. And then it started to feel almost like a job. And I didn't like that. So, just like, your wife challenged you, Vanessa did the same thing for me. And I can definitely say like, it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
I'm present, but I'm like present. I'm there. You know what I mean? So I think kindness, you can attach so many words to kindness. It can be caring, present. Like,
yeah,
I think kindness also has to deal with your beliefs, your values.
It's good.
That's from this conversation. That's what I'm getting from. So
that's so true, dude. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Spot on.
Well, I would just I feel like there's a time and a place for, I don't want to say being fake nice, but like in certain situations,
totally.
It's certainly kinder to walk away than walk away or just fake nice and just like
that goes to pick your battles.
Absolutely.
And I think that's so true, dude. So I don't want to knock that at all, because if we just went around being kind in the sense that we have to face all the hard things.
Yeah.
For one, ain't no one going to be having a good day at that point.
No.
You have to really, there's like a gut factor of trust when it comes to timing of things.
Well, it depends on the person. Like if it's a person that you're like, well, they're not, I think it's your core people. Cause in the situations we're talking about, it's wives, family.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Those are the ones that you need to nurture and take care of those. But like, not necessarily strangers, but people who aren't on your close. Like I would include us. Like you guys are people that I'm gonna,
right?
Rather, we're
gonna have hard convos exactly. If we have to. Yeah,
there's certain people that you don't have hard convos with, and you're just fake nice, and that's kinder than.
And I think maybe even instead of even call it fake nice, that might fall under a word that I really enjoy that we don't use a lot in our language is meekness.
Yeah, that's
meekness is the ability to be 100% right, right. But perceived to be 100% wrong, and you don't have to waste your breath.
Yeah, that's how Jesus was.
It's actually, I think, one of the highest values of maturity is your ability to be meek. And it actually says in the Bible, which I love, isn't it so weird that some of the words in the Bible, the key words of who we're supposed to be in regards to character and things, are so either minimized, like they're not even used in our language, or they've taken something good in a word and converted it or perverted it or watered it down to remove like the trueness of it. But meekness says that the meek will inherit the earth. So those who are willing to be misunderstood will absolutely inherit the earth. And it is taking me and is still taking me so long to understand that I don't have to be liked by everyone to do what I'm going to do. And I definitely don't have to be understood.
For sure.
And the more energy I spend trying to convince somebody of a belief of mine or convince someone that this grand idea or vision that I have is grand, like, is actually not needed.
And it takes away from the energy you have for your family.
Yeah. So, and I'll tie that into now real estate and teams and all this stuff. And also why this podcast is going to be so good for people as we go deep on relationships. We go deep on teams, and teams supersede any sort of industry. There are teams of people accomplishing amazing things in every industry and every line of work. But the team element that can become so draining, and the reason why nice versus kind is important is if me being a nice guy to everyone on my team, if that's what it takes for me to be well-liked and grow my business, whatever, I had to start asking myself, at what cost does that come at for me, for my family, but then also for the people that are here with me?
Yeah.
If I'm exhausted and drained at the end of the day because I'm having to fake nice all the time and I can't be straight up a little bit, like with my own crew, like, it's just a matter of time before I burn out. And so I was always so confused in real estate because I've been in it 10 years. Man, why is it every year? Why is it every other year that I feel this burnout occurring? And I recognize it's because I was faking nice, and I was really convinced that in order to be in real estate or in order to be successful in business or whatever line you want to put there, I thought I had to be something other than my true self. And I think I was so lost when I first got into real estate. I didn't even know who that true self was. So I had to be gracious with myself, and I'm still learning grace with myself. But dude, the reason you're getting so burnt out is because you're being who you think you need to be for everyone at the expense of who you really are. And my lens on leadership, my lens on success, my lens on being a husband, a dad, whatever you want, absolutely changed. So for those people that are building teams, whether it's 2 of you or 70 some odd of you, I would just say the earlier on you can figure out who you are, asking yourself the hard questions, and even leaving a conversation being like, was I kind?
Yeah.
Or was I nice? And if you can make the summary that, I was kind of faking nice, but it was for a kinder thing because there's no point in that relationship going there, whatever, so be it. But when it comes to this team, you guys know there was a big change in me probably in the last year and a half, where it's just like, guys, I'm just at the end of myself. I have nothing else that I can give you. And so I'm just going to give you me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when this whole thing really started to blow up in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, in the worst way and the best way. Financially, worst way. Because I had to let down my guard and just be like, you know what? Like, I can't solve everyone's problem.
Right.
I can't even solve mine. How can I solve everyone else's? But if I could be just straight up with what I'm going through and how hard it is, maybe I'll set some people free.
Yeah.
And give them permission and freedom to struggle with me. I don't need to put on a face like we do in real estate. Like, oh yeah, I got 27 sales this month. Life's freaking good. Just bought a, whatever. Like, no, it's hard. Like, I sold half the properties I did last year with expenses that were 7 times more than I've ever had. And, like, I'm sorry. I feel like I kind of let you guys down. Those are the convos I felt like is what I had to have a lot of last year. But I don't know, you guys tell me. It's easier to get feedback even from you guys. Have you guys seen a shift in me in the last year and a half? If so, what has it been?
Yeah, I think I have definitely seen the shift. And I think it's been for the better. And I think that you being kind, and when I hear kind now, it's just being truthful, even though sometimes people don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I think it's really helped this team. Not only we get to learn from you, but I do believe that we've gotten closer as a family, team, whatever you want to call it. But I think the cool thing, Blake, is because of your honesty, your truthfulness, like I said, even though sometimes we just don't want to hear it and we have to hear it, it's come to the point where we're super appreciative of all that, and we all have each other's backs because we know that, hey, if I'm messing up here, you telling me or telling Reese, whoever it is, that, hey, you need to work on this. It's not that you're being mean, it's that you're being kind and you're actually looking after us. You know what I mean? One thing I want to bring up is Reese. Yesterday, this is a good example, I think, of nice and kind. Yeah. We were coming back from Paso Robles, and the property we just closed on yesterday, it's going to need some landscaping. And we were charged, I want to say, it was a little bit over 10 grand. And our budget only allows us a $10,000 budget for a landscape. I think it was really cool to see Reese do your thing. And it's cool because you had said, sometimes we got to ask ourselves, are we being kind or are we being nice? And I always see that, and you always ask, sometimes you ask me, hey, how did that sound? Hey, was I kind or whatnot? And it was cool that you were kind, but you also let him know, like, you also let the landscaper know, hey, this is what it has to be. So can we work together, figure it out, versus just trying to be nice to get on his good side to then hopefully get. Yeah. I think it's phenomenal the way you set that up, the way you were assertive but kind at the same time. And I think it prevented some talks that you didn't even have to have just by being kind and truthful.
Oh, that's good, dude.
Anyways, yeah.
And actually, I can picture it. Reese, you've wasted a lot of air in your life.
A lot of breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have too, dude. So you're not alone in that. But do you think your conversation yesterday, you probably would have got the same result, but it would have been a lot more long-winded, huh?
It would have been 3 conversations later that we figured this out.
Got it. Tell me about that.
Okay, so I find it like I'm I'm interested to see, and I've learned a lot on this specific deal, dealing with the people we bought it from, of things that we could have avoided had I been a little bit firmer up front. Because I find that when I'm in transactions for clients, I will say yes, or like agree with them or do whatever it is, get off the phone and then go talk to the client or whoever, like, and then I wasted a conversation because I wasn't firm on who I needed to stand up for.
And in that original conversation, you knew more or less what you could do, but
exactly.
It was just pressurized,
but I wanted
right?
to people please and be nice rather than like not wasting anyone's time. Or no, I was wasting people's time, but I didn't I was trying to
You were being nice doing it.
Exactly.
But wasting their time and your time wasn't necessarily kind.
Yes. And so realizing okay, I just need to be just straight up with people now.
Yeah.
Especially because we have timelines and things we need to get done. Yeah. And if we don't hit those timelines, it costs a lot of money. And especially I don't know. It's just I'm kind of tired of saying yes to people.
Yeah.
It's pretty exhausting.
Yeah.
Man.
I could have easily said, oh, 13 grand. That's great.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
No, to him, and then come to you guys. And then Blake's like, no, we can't do over 10 grand. We can't do 13 grand. And then I go back to him. He's like, oh, we got to do this. We got to do this and this. And then, but I told him, I was like, we can't do that. Let's do this instead. Yeah. And then make it work. He said, oh, okay, that's fine. And then the conversation was done and there's no problem.
So there's a big one. I don't know if we want to touch on this or not.
Do it.
Timeline wise. And maybe we can just do a little brief bit and we'll bring this up later. But it's in the same vein as nice versus kind. Is people pleasing versus boundaries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're so closely connected. People don't understand it sometimes. And so maybe we'll go over that on a future one. But I like the word that you said, people pleasing. And a game changer for me is every time I say yes to someone, I am saying no to someone else. Mm-hmm. And I have to start understanding when I say yes to this, who am I saying no to? Or if I'm saying no to this, who do I get to say yes to now? Mm-hmm. So we will talk about that at some other point, the two together. But let's just talk about people pleasing for a sec.
Okay.
We are in a people business and we are in a people pleasing business in the sense that we are front facing to a consumer that is saturated with options.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's on the investor side and on the retail real estate side.
Yep.
If a person decides today who just graduated from college or just graduated from high school and is now on the labor force or whatever, that person decides, hey, I want to go buy a house. Don't you guys think that person has an option of probably at least 3 people that might even come to their head when they just think about it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
One of them's a family member, 2 of them's a family member, even another 1 or 2 they went to school with, and another 1 or 2 they might see online or whatever. In the investor arena, in distressed properties, are you guys seeing that is also a thing or not so much?
I don't know.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, they do have options. However, what at least I'm seeing, and maybe this is just the people we're specifically dealing with, investors are pretty loyal, I think. And maybe it really might just be the people we're working with that will call us first and they won't go to other people. Maybe that's just my experience.
And are we talking about, and I think it's important to clarify this, are we talking about investors in the sense that they want to go buy a multifamily property?
Oh, yeah.
Or are we talking about the client who owns a distressed property and is out looking for their options? I think it's important to clarify that.
Sorry, I guess I misunderstood your question.
No, it's all good. You understood it. We're just talking about real estate clients, right? Yeah. Investors.
I was thinking, yeah.
So yeah, in general, our investors are going to be loyal to us as long as we're providing value.
Yeah.
But in general, investors are probably the most least loyal when it comes to retail real estate.
I would say so. Naive. I would definitely say so.
Reese said he's just naive.
I would definitely.
You just on the right team.
Yeah. Sure.
I would definitely say that yes, investors are honestly probably the most disloyal. I actually got to experience this recently. A lot of investors, like you could be a buyer's agent for an investor, but a lot of them are going to call the seller's agent. Hey, why accept another buyer's offer when they're represented with a buyer's agent? I'm an investor. I don't have an agent. Why don't you be my agent?
So I feel like they get an upper hand.
Yeah. And a lot of the times it works. And then as a buyer's agent for an investor, you sometimes get cut out.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling.
No, it's not a good feeling. I think I've been on both sides of the coin for sure.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say. What do you say to an investor at that point? If they say, hey, like, Blake, love you, dude, but I'm going to go over here and call this sign.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, like, what my go-to was at that time that I experienced, I let them know, hey, listen, you're going to be represented by an agent who's representing both the seller and you.
Yep.
So whose best interest does he have in mind? Because you came in second, right? My go-to would be like, you need a buyer's agent. You need someone who's going to solely represent you and not have the same listing agent represent him. Because he used to say that he doesn't, or that he or she doesn't have the buyer's interest in mind, the investor's interest in mind.
Yeah,
not sure.
That's true. All right. Yeah, we're back. Nice versus kind. I think we touched on a little bit before we had left even the people pleasing. And I want to go a little deeper on that. I think we just kind of barely touched people pleasing and boundaries. What have you learned about that, boys?
Go ahead, Reese.
It's a tough one, Reese.
Yeah.
Tell me about your struggles with it. Why is it so hard?
It's trying to think of a good situation, but in real estate, learning a lot about it, because when you are a realtor, your job is to, let's just say, for example, you're the buyer's agent. Your job is to be representative of their interests, right? Or in selling, right? But for my example, I use the buyer's interest. My struggle has been in the past when a listing agent will call me and tell me something, whatever it is, I'll just nod and say okay for the sake of people pleasing that listing agent, even if it might go against what my client needs.
Got it.
Because of my need to people please.
Yeah.
Same thing has happened with real estate company that we're buying Bolin from. Like, in a way, I was communicating with them. So we'll just say, for the example purposes, I was representing our team in the purchase of this, right? And it got a little difficult for me because I felt like me just nodding and saying okay to her was impacting our timeline.
Got it.
And at that point, that was when I handed her off to you, Blake, was because I
make me the bad guy.
When you say it that way, yeah. But no, the reason I did that was because
I'm so kind I can be bad if I have to be, you know?
That's not what I was trying to say. but does that make sense?
No, it does.
And so
I think you hit it on the head. We want to freaking people please other agents at the expense or detriment to our clients.
Yes. And so figuring that out has been fun, and I've learned a lot about it in the past, just this year, really. Being able to know, like...
And I think that goes back to the boundaries as well, right? And understanding when we say yes to somebody, we're saying no to somebody else or whatever.
Yeah. And you have to know... And I think the same goes for, I don't know, I'm not married yet, but I think the same goes for when you're married, right? Like, you guys are one, so you're always you're always your wife's agent, right?
Yeah.
You always are looking out for her best interests and making sure that she's taken care of.
Yeah.
So, I just made that connection. Boom.
I like
Mind
that.
blown.
Our wife's agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some agency there when it comes to being
There's a fiduciary duty.
fiduciary duty for sure.
Fiduciary duty.
Yeah. And I think, Reese, you touched on something that's so important, and I think so many of you younger agents, not even younger agents, just new agents to the game. I don't care how old you are, but it definitely does affect, I think, younger agents more with that people pleasing. I can speak for myself when I got in the game and I was 22 years old. And you've even seen some of these real estate agents be considered top or popular, or the big dogs or the OGs, whatever words you want to use. As a kid, right? We're kids and we know some of these people.
Yeah, you hear their name.
And then you get in the actual game.
These people are crazy.
These people are jerks.
That's the word I would use.
Dude.
Well, and the and the hard part too is for me being young.
Yeah.
Like I've dealt with agents that me knowing I'm young, like they'll try to push me over, and I kind of let them for the sake of like there's part of me that's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, okay, you probably know best.
Yeah.
That like there's that part, and then there's also like, oh, they're their agent. I need to create this great. Like, no, I don't. And I'm coming to the point where I don't necessarily need to be best friends with any of these people.
Yeah. I think that's important. And it's still like, we can still be kind.
Absolutely. And I'll still be friendly with them, and I can have a good relationship with them without being best friends with them.
Right. And I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
I had to figure out too. It's like, man, I get along with a lot of agents, and I would say I'm even friends with a few of them. But yeah, I don't need to be friends with every single agent there is.
Yeah.
I don't. Still going to be professional and all this other stuff. But like, yeah, at the end of the day, I've had to separate my agency with my client over my agency in relationship to other people within my industry.
Yeah.
And I think that's tough because it becomes a melting pot that we think, well, we have to make our clients happy. We have to make the agent happy. We have to make, no, and we don't. Tying it in with your spouse, I had to go through the learning stage of people pleasing, at the detriment to me and my wife's time or my family time or whatever it is, isn't kind. And I'm going to say yes to my wife before I'm going to say yes to you any other day. So, you can be offended by it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Your seat's back there. It's not up here right now.
Yeah.
No.
So, and I think that's the thing with the real estate agents amongst themselves is, and then you don't have to also be on the other side. You don't have to be a dick.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an asshole. You can just be straight up like, hey, I hear you. Totally get it. And if I were in your shoes representing your clients, I'd probably be doing the same thing. But here's the deal. We have 30 days to get this deal closed. And I know you're feeling a lot of pressure from your client right now or from your lender or from whatever, but I'm just here to say, like, non-transferable. Your emergency is not my emergency. Your panic is not my panic. So I can sit here and I can listen to you, but no, you're going to respect me. You're not going to talk down to me, and you're not going to treat me like a fool.
Yeah.
Well, and you also can't, because, and Lewis teases me about this, about getting emotional. Like you can't get emotional when because I've done this before, is when another agent calls me in a rush and they're like, what is going on? And then I get emotional and then transfer that onto my client, and then adds another layer of stress to them.
We went over this quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I've done a lot better, but I still have a lot of
people
work
that care deeply.
Yeah.
Carry a lot of weight that we don't necessarily have to.
Yeah.
Right.
And we should never, ever discount that.
Yeah.
It's good to feel what people are feeling.
Yeah.
Like that's a kind thing to do. That's a good heart. I never, ever want to lose that edge of me.
Yeah.
Even though it's heavy.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So it's fun. I tease him playfully. So I've gone through what you've gone through. Where as a new agent, and I know you're not newer, but like when I first started off, all I wanted to do was people please, because I felt like that's how I was going to get paid, right?
Yep.
It wasn't. I started to realize that it was a lack of confidence and not being knowledgeable on the things that I needed to know at that time.
So lack of reps. Anyway.
Lack of reps. Where it clicked for me was I had a deal going in Singer, and there was a Fresno agent, which we won't talk about Fresno agents, but there was a Fresno agent. Kept calling me. And dude, it gave me anxiety because I was like, he was threatening to cancel the deal, just hounding me for, and I was like a chill, relaxed agent.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the second, we had 2 more days to close, and he called me at 11 o'clock at night. And I think it was just my frustration that gave me confidence, but I told the agent, I said, hey, listen, it's 11 o'clock at night. After he went on a 10-minute rant, and I said, we'll talk in the morning. And I hung up on him. And then he sent me a cancellation form. We're 2 days from closing. And then, I don't know if I should be sharing this, but in the email, I said, I appreciate the cancellation form. Just so you're aware, it's 3 days, right, that we get. And there's only 2 days left to close, so I don't know what you want me to do with this. Anyways, I bring that up because it was at that time where it clicked. Like, I'm not gonna let people walk over me, And I just you've gotten so much better. I'm not knocking you or anything, but it's funny to see Reese, and it's cool to see you grow, dude.
Yeah,
so,
amen to that.
Yeah,
and we never get it perfect.
Yeah,
that's the thing. We're always figuring it out. There are those lines though where it's like, all right, mother effer.
There's like
I've been cool for a long time, and the coolness just went out the window.
Yeah.
Now here's how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And typically what I do at that point, so you guys know, not an a-hole. I'm just not communicating over the phone with you.
Yeah.
I'm sending an email. We're gonna go directly by the book. You've extended beyond any sort of reasonable boundary at this point. So now you're going to be put on extra back order.
Yeah.
If you want to communicate with me, you can send me an email with whatever proper documentation is needed. Other than that, leave me alone. You're a detriment to your client's success. Bye.
And I think that's what, like, the people on the other side, that's what they misunderstand, is going back to nice versus kindness. If they would just be kind and straight up in the beginning, you wouldn't have to go that far.
Yeah. Or just like, hey, straight up, man, I'm bugging out because my client is going 1,000,000 miles an hour. They've called me 17 times. And I would say, hey, what I would do at that point, a good agent knows how to not only be a therapist for themselves and for their clients. I will gladly walk an agent through exactly what they should do to just detonate and calm the situation.
I've heard you do that too, which is very entertaining.
Dude, I enjoy doing it. Yeah. I wouldn't be a team leader if I didn't enjoy figuring out how to diffuse bombs.
Right.
Because I feel like that's what I do most of the time. Is I diffuse bombs before they go off, and then if I wasn't able to diffuse it, I'm gonna get out a fire extinguisher and figure out how I mitigate the damage.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because like there's a couple clients that I've had because of my dad, and like there's certain situations that they're like, hey, he handled this really well. And like I remember, and I was like, I just did exactly what Blake told me to do. like that was like, and I'm grateful for it. And now I have that in my quiver, or what is it? What am I talking about? Quiver?
Yeah, the quiver.
I have it in my arsenal to use, but it's like, it's funny because like my dad will tell me something like that. It's like, hey, they said you handled this really well. Yeah. And I'm like, I just did exactly what Blake told me to do.
There's a lot of failure on my side to get to that point. Let me tell you. Yeah, but it's true. I think sometimes just taking a deep breath for yourself. And then I even asked another agent, like, hey, like, dude, have you taken a deep breath and just like got a drink of water? I know it sounds funny, but a couple deep breaths and a sip of water will go a long way for your mental health.
Yeah.
Like, if I've had to learn how to coach myself in the midst of chaos and stuff in this business and outside of it, but that's my default. Like, let's take a step back here. I think everything feels like an emergency in this business, and we find out it's not. But then once we know it's not, now it's like, okay, I can give people permission to still be upset. I can give permission for that agent on the other side that was treating you like an a-hole.
Yeah.
I'll give them permission to do that. But here's the line. Hey, Mr. Fresno agent, I'm not going to answer any phone call from you probably after 7:30 at night. I probably won't even answer your text that late.
Yeah.
You can call me, you can leave a voicemail, but if you're expecting a response, or let alone some sort of response that's going to move the situation in the right direction, I think you need to figure out a different way, because this doesn't work for me.
Right.
And just leaving it at that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a mother effer. You don't do your... Hey, hope you have a great night.
Yeah.
I will talk to you in the morning. If you'd like, you can send an email as soon as this phone call is done with whatever proper documentation is needed, and I'll present it to my clients first thing in the morning. Have a great night.
Yep.
Feel your emotions however you want to. Not allowed over here. I'm not going to carry that for you.
Yeah.
Like, God bless you. I'm going to pray for you tonight.
Right.
I'm going to pray for me too, because I'm going to have to deal with you in the morning. But, you know.
Yeah.
How have you guys learned how to have people respect your time? You know, it's kind of one example right there.
Yeah.
But any other examples?
I think for me, it personally just goes back to confidence. Just being okay with the fact that I'm not going to please everyone, but it's healthier for me and my relationship at home. Because it's like you said, sometimes we forget to breathe as newer agents. We get caught up so much in the work that your family, your friends, they get put in the backseat when it should be the other way. So for me, I just become more confident and not shy away. And I've learned this a lot from you, where sometimes you just have to have those talks you don't want to have.
Yeah.
And I've been learning. I'm not perfect at it, but just being confident and saying what we need to say.
Yeah.
Even this stuff, guys, takes reps.
Yeah.
From myself and everything.
I think the biggest thing for me was when someone told me, who was it? I don't remember. But like, if something doesn't get done after like 4:30, you can't do anything about it until 8 the next morning anyway.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, whoop-de-freaking do.
Yeah.
Like, we can have this conversation 10 minutes at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if we're in escrow and like, we really can't do anything until the next morning either. So like, when I came to that realization, then I was able to then respect my own time of like, I'm not going to waste my time on this right now, because if we have that conversation tomorrow, then it's going to be better clear to me when I'm communicating with escrow lender or whatever. And then I like, if I'm not going to answer the phone, I just don't answer the phone. And then once you set that precedent, it becomes a lot easier to deal with other agents, you know?
Yeah.
Clients is a little bit different though.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I think everyone has to set, in my opinion, there's no black and white to this. People have to sit down with themselves and their family and figure out what they're comfortable with. And in certain seasons, I know I'm preaching to the choir. If you ain't got any escrows and no money coming in, you're more likely going to be answering a phone call at 8:30 at night from a potential client.
Yeah.
Like, that's the nature of our business. It doesn't mean it has to be like that. They could still call and we can have no deals going.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can still, if we absolutely wanted, still text that person and say, hey, I typically don't do business after 8:00. I'm spending the rest of the night with my family. Are you available at 8:30 or 9 tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
And that could be even more powerful than answering the phone if that form of communication is done properly.
Yeah.
I think you had shared when I first joined that. I forget when, but it was probably a training that sometimes like communicating that, even though it might not be what the buyer wants to hear.
Yeah.
You get respected more for that.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So
I started doing that at buyer's consultations, like set it up and like let them know, because like I have certain times that I can't work because I don't work because of lead worship. So
right.
I like let them know, like Wednesdays after 4:00, I can't really do anything. I'm at church. Sunday mornings, other than that, like, and that kind of let them know. After 7:00, you can text me and I'll probably respond, but like phone, I started doing that at buyer's consultations because you told me that you do that at the buyer's consultations. So
yeah, just say, it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, you know, I say this, it doesn't mean that you can't text me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to let you know up front, there's a chance you might not get a message back from me until the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that all changes, I think, too, like if the client needs my attention, like my family, they're pretty understanding of that kind of stuff. So like, if I need to have that conversation at 8:00, it's situational too.
Totally. I think everything's situational. Mm-hmm. I think you learn as you go. And I think just having the knowledge, like, hey, at some point, and for me, it's seasons. I refer to it as seasons because in the midst of this business, you will lose yourself, period. I don't care what people say.
A couple times.
And that's exactly it, dude. I'll lose myself at different periods over the years, whether I'm mentally well or was well or not, just because it becomes chaotic. Mm-hmm. Everyone says, oh, build up your pipeline, have all these people. Yeah, what happens when you have a pipeline of 30 people now busting? And everyone wants your attention right then. Yeah, that season's going to be busy.
Yeah.
But the last 2 seasons were extremely slow. So having a spouse also having that in consideration and just knowing like, hey, I am going to do everything I can to respect our time together, honey. But it's been a slow 6 months. Like, we need every drop of business that we can. And I'm going to go in a little bit extra in this season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've had to have those convos too. Be like, hey, like, I love you. Just understand that I'm still here present with you. Mm-hmm. But 2022 was hard, and 2023, we're going to freaking get it done.
Yep.
And all she needs to say is, I believe in you.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
Yep.
And I'll still be an awesome dad and an awesome husband. Yeah, I might be a little more tired. I might work a little bit longer hours, and we might not be able to take the vacation that I wanted us to take, but we're still going to get time together. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to be excited to see you and the kids. Thankful for everything you guys do. Just know, like, I'm getting it done for us right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's also tough because I want it all to be black and white.
Yeah.
We're programmed black and white. Go to school, get a degree, get a job, Monday through Friday, weekends off, and 2 weeks vacation. Mm-hmm. We're all programmed for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, outside of that it's got to be okay for you and your household, period.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be great to, at some point, speak about being intentional with your time. Because everything you just said, I mean, I've gone through that too, where it's like, hey, last month was so slow, and you know what? I used to shy away from those conversations. I actually appreciate them because what I've seen is a lot of growth within my relationship. But yeah, I think maybe having a topic where just being intentional with our time, just talking a little bit about that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So got a little bit of time. I think we want to talk about being intentional.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's super good. I mean, we all have the same number of hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard this referenced, and this is kind of what I was touching on earlier, but if our day was a pie, we have 12 hours in that day of doing things that we want to do.
Right.
Do you eat one slice of pie differently than the other slice. So when I talked about going out and being a warrior, I think how I viewed it was, well, yeah, for 8 to 10 hours a day. Some of us on real estate, 12 plus, depends on the day.
Depends on the day.
But we attack that pie differently than the pie when we get home. And so until I took that paradigm shift, and I think intentional is the right word, when I can give my 100% best for this many hours at work, and I can absolutely still give my 100% best for this many hours at home.
Yeah.
But if I look at like my day as only what I do between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Versus 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Right.
Yeah, our brains, our subconscious will naturally start to close us out for the day at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I have to do is I enjoy my rides home. I enjoy private time with myself, silent time more than any other. But I almost have to like get myself hyped up in a way, in the sense that like, I gotta go enjoy these 2 to 3 hours at home.
Yeah.
And not like it's a burden or anything, but it's different than work, right? So no, I can't just completely check out.
Right.
That's actually, that intentional time is more valuable than the 8 hours I did before it.
Yep.
But we're programmed not like that. Give it all at work and then veg out on the couch.
Do nothing.
Crack yourself open a cold one and hit the recline. Right?
Yep.
I mean, they've normalized that, dude.
Yeah.
We watch it in movies. We do it. We absorb it in every form of media, and then we're so surprised that we go and do it, and then we complain about unhealthy relationships
efficient.
at home.
Yeah.
We complain about all this stuff. Well, it's been normalized that people go out and work and be a certain way for 8 to 10 hours a day, and then go home and be an absolute jackass.
Yeah.
Like, and that's okay, and it's not. So I have to, in my car ride home, sometimes even sit in the car before I walk in. Man, Lord, thank you for letting me be a husband and a dad. I really want to enjoy my time. I'm stressed out right now. I can barely think straight. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Lord, help me go in and be a freaking rock star husband and be a rock star dad. And then I go in and I handle it. But I never even thought I could do that.
Yeah.
No one told me that I couldn't. It just wasn't in my programming. I had to put conscious, intentional thought into, why do I feel so zonked at the end of the day?
Right.
Part of it's energy, but most of it's still mindset. It's still your mindset. We're viewing it wrong.
Yeah. I think being intentional with your time is a freaking superpower.
It is.
So I'll tell a story.
Yeah.
We talked about this on Wednesday. It was a great day. And this is the reason why I love being able to do what we do here, is like, we had a couple hours that we did some unproductive thing. Like we went to lunch. Like there's like,
eating's still productive.
But like we went to a couple stores, was like, it was a complete waste of time. But then came back to the office, worked for 2 hours. I got so much done in that 2 hours. And I think that being able to do, like, just not turn your mind off, but like shut everything, like put your head down and work. Like being able to do that is so huge. And I think that we are learning to do that here, I think, very well. And I think that feeds into being able to go home and do those types of things, like being able to take some time, not as much time as we did on Wednesday, cause it was a little bit much, but, like being able to take some time to like sit and like enjoy talking to one another and spending time together, and knowing when that's okay, how much of it, and then being able to go back and work. Right. And that helps us to like ease our mind, I think. And it helps me to like not shut down at 5 o'clock. And then I'm good until 8:30 when I usually go to sleep.
There you go.
But like, I don't know what you think about that, but just like being able to have hours of the day where you just get stuff done,
I think I read a study that the most productive 8-hour day is actually 3 hours of work.
Yeah.
Something wild like that. I've been able to knock out more in an hour or two than I have in a full 8-hour day if I'm, depending on how intentional and focused my time is, or my energy is able to be harnessed and focused. So
well, that's why I like the environment that we have. Is like, if we get our tasks done,
totally,
no one's worried about it.
Totally.
Like if your stuff is done, like if I get all my crap done,
yep,
you're not tripping. Nope. If I come in from 8 and I'm here till noon and I go home and my stuff's done, I don't know if that's a bad thing to say on the podcast.
No, it's true. Caleb, do you feel the same way?
What?
Yeah.
I asked Caleb, our videographer, if he felt the same way about focus time, and Reese mentioned that I don't really trip as long as the stuff's done. That's true, right?
Yeah, no, they can't hear me for sure.
I ain't tripping. Okay.
Yeah.
So what he just said is he smiled and said, they can't hear me for sure. So, and now he's laughing again. I'm just giving you guys a play-by-play.
Play-by-play, yeah. But
yes,
anyway.
He said, I agree. As long as my projects are done, you're not tripping, Blake. And I said, no, I'm not, Caleb, because my shoelaces are always tied, son.
Dang. We had to put that on a plaque. That was good. I've never heard that before.
You haven't heard that one, dude?
No, that was good. I appreciate you sharing that.
Wow. How about you guys, the viewers? Have you ever heard of that? You guys ever heard of not tripping because your shoelaces are tied?
What's that one line from that song? Never mind.
I don't know, but a line that Reese always likes to say. It's one from Drake.
Yeah, it's from I can't remember the name of the song.
Oh, yikes. Come on.
Pipe Down.
All right, well, what's the line, Reese?
It's the opening line of the song is, said you belong to the streets, but the streets belong to me.
How do you feel about that, Caballero?
It's a great line.
Yeah.
It's a great line. Powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it.
So we'll be dropping some good one-liners.
Good Drake one-liners.
Yeah, we do that for fun every once in a while too. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How did we get there?
I don't know.
It was shoelaces, tripping.
Oh, wait, time management.
Said she belongs to the streets.
But the streets.
But in fact, the streets do belong to me.
So does that mean that? Yeah. Okay. I was just doing math.
So essentially, anything that belongs to the streets.
Yeah.
Is his because
but we won't go to the next sentence. We'll just plant the seed.
We'll leave it right there. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, I'm glad that we covered that. I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree.
I also heard another line speaking about rap lines. Sorry. But it doesn't necessarily apply to me, and I'll tell you why afterwards. But here's the line, guys. Actually, there's two I'm thinking of. I'll do one first.
Just do it. Yeah, do it.
First one. My money too straight.
Oh, frick.
I don't walk with a limp.
Wow.
Money too straight. I don't walk with a limp.
Yeah.
Second one.
Yeah.
That one's,
That one's
powerful. The reason I struggle with that one, I love the lines.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I struggle with that one is because anyone who knows me knows, in fact, that I do walk with a limp.
Mm-hmm. A pimp limp.
Maybe I don't know if I'd call it that.
Yeah. Okay. It just sounds good. It sounds
it's
cool.
like a little bit of a slight lean, it's a little dip.
Yeah. I feel it.
Some people have referred to it as something called the Pixley walk.
I
don't know. So anyway, that line I've always struggled with because I do have a little bit of, but I think, it's just a little bit of swag.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit heavier, like the drip's heavier on the right side than the left. So it's a little more dip.
Too much sauce.
Side. Yeah.
Makes sense. Huh.
Second line that I want to round table here with you guys. And some of you guys that know me also have heard me drop this one. I'd pinky swear I'd pinky swear, but my pinky ring too big.
That's a good line.
So, thoughts on that one?
You know, that one's like, you know how there's like certain things in life that you do that's like there's like a slight flex. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a disrespectful flex. That's leaning toward the disrespectful slide.
Got it.
But for context, the way we use disrespectful around here is a little bit different sometimes. You know?
Because it could be somewhat of a good thing.
It's kind of hard to explain because like we don't mean to disrespect anybody, but
it's like in California when we say no, we say yeah first.
Like yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
So when the Shawn team says, "Oh, that was disrespectful," we mean that like, "Oh, that was pretty tight."
Like it was pretty nasty. Or no, that's not.
Okay, so yeah, we're getting real deep.
That's not a good way to explain it, huh?
So got way off there, but just remember, I would pinky swear, but my pinky ring is too big.
Too big.
So it's important.
Can you give us one, Lewis? I feel like you have one on your mind.
Yeah, you know when you said that.
Does this need to be a segment every week?
I was going to say that we should have a segment every week.
When you said that line, it reminded me of the line that I used to sing back in high school, and it goes something like this. It's
Can you sing it for us, though?
I don't know. It's a rap. It's rap. So
rap it.
Yeah. So it's like it goes.
Do you want me to beatbox?
I think I got it. So it's the name 2 Chainz, but I got me a few on.
Oh.
You know.
Dang.
Yeah. So that's a good one.
I don't even have anything to say to that one.
I actually
Can I share one? Can I share one real quick?
Would you like to show or share?
Share.
Okay.
It goes like this. We've been longtime friends, me and Ben Frank. Every day, he needs a ride home from the bank.
So that one's tough for me.
Yeah. It's a little bit of like, it's kind of advanced, you know, but he's referring to the $100 bill, Ben Franklin. On the $100 bill.
Yeah, you know, the tough part for me there, Reese, on that one is that he would need a ride home from the bank when isn't that where the money should be?
That would be his home, point. Right? That would be his home. Yeah. I got a little lost there.
So
that's a good point. I didn't write it.
No.
Full disclosure.
I mean, unless he's going to another bank. Yeah, you withdraw and deposit in another bank.
Right. So. Otherwise, you shouldn't be needing.
I mean, there's some people that just carry cash on them all the time.
That's true.
That's true.
You know, my dad always tells me to carry cash. Like, just have $20 on you. I never do.
I try not to either. I always give it away.
Yeah. I like to go by the phrase, Notorious Big said it so well.
Man, here we go.
The more money we come across, the more problems we see.
Yeah, amen.
So that's kind of my thoughts on the whole carrying cash thing.
Well, rap backwards is par.
Mm-hmm.
So on par.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
We're good on that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Well, Caleb. I think that's a wrap. Oh.
Caleb, how we doing on time?
How we doing on time?
100% need to end before it gets any worse.
Okay.
Okay, so can I say that line?
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap.
Speaking of rap.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Speaking of rap.
That's a wrap. Yes.
Cool. So, episode 2
done. Check mark.
The Not So Real Estate podcast.
Yep.
Is officially done. If you haven't tuned in yet, we got episode 1 that was also pretty fire.
Yep.
This episode touching on nice versus kind. Mm-hmm. And the next episode, boys, we're gonna be talking about.
It's a surprise.
Oof, man. Surprise.
Unless you want to reveal it, then you can.
No, I think that you should they should just tune in.
I think so.
And hear what it's all about. But I think it might have something to do with boundaries.
And just remember, if your pinky ring is too big,
don't pinky ring. Don't pinky swear.
Yeah.
And with that, we're out.
Yeah. That's a wrap.